Have you ever sat on the edge of your bed in the morning, not because of pain, but because your legs just didn't feel ready to stand? I know that feeling. I've lived it. You sit there waiting as if your body needs a moment to catch up. Maybe it happens when you rise from your favorite chair and feel like you need to push just a little harder than you used to. Or maybe you've noticed your balance isn't what it once was. It's easy to say, well, I'm just getting older, and move on. But what if I told you that these small signs could be your body quietly calling for help? What I didn't know, what many of us don't, is that these changes may not just be about aging. They can be early signs of something called sarcopenia, the gradual loss of muscle mass that affects 1 in 3 people over 60. And here's the part that surprised me most. This muscle loss doesn't just happen when we stop exercising. It can actually happen while we sleep. Yes, while we sleep. If your body doesn't get the right fuel before bed, it can begin to break down muscle overnight. You may feel rested in the morning, but still wake up a little weaker than the day before. That realization was a turning point for me. Because once I understood the problem, I also discovered the solution, something simple, natural, and surprisingly effective. Just one small change before bed made a real difference. And today, I want to share that with you. What is really happening to our muscles after 60? When I first heard the word sarcopenia, I had to ask someone to repeat it. It sounded distant, like something you might read in a medical journal. But it's not distant at all. It's personal. It's what was quietly happening inside my own body, and perhaps yours too. Sarcopenia means the gradual loss of muscle mass and strength. It's not a rare disease. In fact, doctors estimate that 1 out of every 3 adults over the age of 60 is already living with it. But here's the problem. Most of us don't notice until something goes wrong. A fall, a stumble. That moment you reach for something on a high shelf and realize your arm isn't as steady as it used to be. I used to think these things were just normal signs of getting older. I never imagined they could be reversed or even slowed down. Why sleep might not be helping like you thought. Now, here's something that truly surprised me, and maybe it will surprise you too. I always assumed that sleep was when our body healed, that it was a safe time, a restorative time. And in many ways it is. But what I didn't know is that if we go to bed without the right kind of support, without the proper nutrients, our muscles can actually begin to break down overnight. That means you might feel well rested in the morning, but your muscles could be just a little bit weaker than they were the night before. And over weeks and months, that little bit adds up. For me, the shift didn't come from a prescription or a new gym membership. It came from one small change, adding the right kind of food before bed, just one spoonful, one thoughtful step. And little by little, I began to notice the difference. I stood up with more confidence. I moved with less hesitation. So today, I want to walk you through the 7 foods that helped me. Simple, natural choices you can make in your own kitchen. No fads, no extreme diets, just real food backed by real science. And the first one might already be sitting in your refrigerator. Food. Number 1, soft boiled or poached eggs. A gentle start to rebuilding strength. I'll be honest with you. For most of my life, I never thought of eggs as anything more than breakfast food, scrambled on toast, maybe hard boiled in a salad. But I never imagined that something as simple as a soft boiled egg could become part of my nightly routine and quietly help me rebuild the muscle I was slowly losing. Eggs are what some doctors call a complete protein. That means they contain all 9 essential amino acids your body needs to repair and grow muscle. Among those amino acids, one in particular, leucine, is key. It's the one that actually triggers the process of muscle repair while you sleep. I didn't understand the science at first. I just knew that I had started feeling weaker in the mornings. So when a friend in my walking group told me she had started eating 1 or 2 soft-boiled eggs in the evening and felt stronger climbing stairs, I decided to try it too. The result? Within about 2 weeks, I noticed something subtle but real. My legs didn't feel quite as stiff getting out of bed. I had more control when standing up from my favorite chair. It was a small change, but it felt like the beginning of something good. Here's what I do now. About an hour before bedtime, I gently boil 1 or 2 eggs so the yolks stay soft. That makes the nutrients easier for my body to absorb. I sprinkle a little sea salt and sometimes add a few spinach leaves for a touch of flavor and fiber. No frying, no butter or cheese. Those things just make it harder to digest at night. And let me tell you, it's become a comforting ritual, a warm, nourishing snack that tells my body, here's what you need to stay strong. If you haven't tried it, I encourage you to start simple. Just one soft egg before bed. See how you feel after a few nights. You might be surprised at what your body can do when it's given the right kind of help. Food. Number 2. Almond butter. A spoonful of strength while you sleep. Almond butter wasn't part of my diet until I hit my 70s. It always seemed like something kids put on celery sticks. But one winter, while recovering from a short illness, I read a small study in a senior health newsletter that said almond butter could actually help preserve muscle, even in older adults who were resting more than moving. That got my attention. What makes almond butter special isn't just the protein, though it does have that. It's the combination of healthy fats, plant-based protein, and a little-known amino acid called arginine. Arginine helps improve blood flow, which means your muscles get better access to the nutrients they need to recover and grow, especially during sleep. I started with just 1 tablespoon at night. I spread it on a slice of whole grain toast, about 30 to 60 minutes before bed. Sometimes, when I want something warm, I stir it into a small bowl of oatmeal or mix it with unsweetened yogurt. Just make sure the almond butter is natural. No added sugar, no hydrogenated oils. Within a month, I noticed 2 things. First, I was sleeping through the night more often. Second, when I woke up, I felt steadier on my feet. Not like I could run a marathon, but strong enough to walk without needing that second pause at the edge of the bed. Almond butter also keeps you full through the night, which helps if you sometimes wake up feeling hungry. It digests slowly and steadily, giving your body a gentle stream of fuel while your muscles repair. It's not flashy. It's not fancy. But for me, it works. If you're like me and get a little skeptical about health food trends, give this one a chance. You don't need much, just 1 spoon. But that 1 spoon could help your muscles hold on and maybe even grow back while you rest. Food. Number 3, Tart cherry juice. A sleep aid that helps your muscles heal. Of all the foods I've added to my nightly routine, this one was the most unexpected. Tart cherry juice. Not sweet cherry, not cherry-flavored drinks. I'm talking about the real, unsweetened juice from sour cherries. And believe it or not, it became one of the best discoveries I've made in this stage of life. I first tried it when I was having trouble staying asleep. I'd fall asleep fine, but then wake up around 2 or 3 in the morning and have a hard time drifting off again. That broken sleep wasn't just annoying, it was keeping my muscles from recovering properly at night. Then I read a small clinical study that showed tart cherry juice naturally increases melatonin, the hormone that helps regulate sleep, and reduces muscle soreness after exercise. That caught my attention because even though I don't train like an athlete, walking up hills or doing light stretching can leave me sore now in ways it never did before. So I started drinking 4 to 8 ounces of tart cherry juice about 30 minutes before bed. The taste was sharp at first, but not unpleasant. Some nights, I warm it slightly and sip it like a tea. Other times, I mix it with a small splash of water. I make sure it's 100% juice, no added sugars. Within a few nights, I noticed I was sleeping deeper and longer. I also realized my body didn't feel as stiff the next morning. My steps felt smoother. The soreness I'd often feel in my back or knees was softer. more manageable. Now, Tart cherry juice is part of my wind down ritual. It signals to my body that the day is ending and that it's time to begin healing. If sleep has been a struggle for you, or if you find that you don't recover from daily movement like you used to, this small change could make a big difference. Just remember, it's not about quantity. It's about consistency. A small glass, every night. That's all it takes. Food, and number 4, pumpkin seeds. The tiny seeds that make a big difference. If someone had told me 10 years ago that pumpkin seeds would become a regular part of my nightly routine, I would have smiled politely and moved on. To me, they were just something we scooped out of jack-o'-lanterns every October and threw away. But once I started learning about how muscle loss affects people as they age, and how small, smart choices can help reverse it, I gave them another look. What I found was impressive. Pumpkin seeds are packed with 3 nutrients that are absolutely essential for people our age: magnesium, zinc, and high-quality plant-based protein. Each one plays a unique role in keeping our muscles strong and our bodies functioning properly. Let's start with magnesium. It supports muscle contractions and helps regulate our nervous system. That means fewer leg cramps, better coordination, and more restful sleep. Magnesium also helps our bodies produce protein, so without enough of it, we simply can't build or repair muscle tissue, no matter how much protein we eat. Zinc, on the other hand, supports immune function and helps the body heal after injury or strain. If you've ever noticed that a small bruise or scrape takes longer to heal than it used to, a zinc deficiency could be part of the reason. And the protein in pumpkin seeds, it's gentle on the stomach, but strong in its benefits. Just a handful, around 1 ounce, gives you 7 grams of protein, along with tryptophan, an amino acid that helps your body produce both serotonin and melatonin. These are crucial for regulating mood and sleep. And as we know, real muscle repair happens during deep sleep. I started by eating just 1 tablespoon at night. I usually eat them plain, raw, and unsalted. On days when I feel like treating myself, I toast them lightly in a pan for a few minutes until they give off a warm, nutty aroma. Sometimes I mix them into yogurt or sprinkle them over a small salad. They're easy to chew, satisfying to crunch, and most of all, they're effective. Within a couple of weeks, I began to notice that my legs weren't as restless at night. I stopped waking up from sudden calf cramps. And perhaps most importantly, I began to wake up feeling rested instead of groggy and stiff. It wasn't a dramatic change, but it was steady, and it lasted. For me, pumpkin seeds are a quiet success story. They're easy to overlook, but powerful in the background. And that's exactly the kind of help I want at this stage of life. Something small that supports me without fanfare, but with real strength. Food. In number 5, Greek yogurt, a creamy, gentle source of nighttime strength. There was a time when I avoided dairy almost entirely. I thought it made me feel bloated, sluggish, and uncomfortable, especially at night. But then someone recommended I try plain Greek yogurt, and my entire view shifted. I learned that not all dairy is the same, and some types can actually help digestion, sleep, and most importantly, muscle recovery. Greek yogurt is special for a few reasons. First, it goes through an extra straining process that removes excess liquid and concentrates the protein. That means it delivers nearly double the protein of regular yogurt in the same serving size. And for older adults, protein density matters. What makes Greek yogurt particularly helpful before bed is its balance of fast-acting whey protein and slow-digesting casein protein. Whey gets to work quickly, helping your muscles start the repair process. Casein, meanwhile, digests more slowly, offering a steady supply of amino acids for hours after you fall asleep. For someone like me, who isn't lifting weights or running marathons, this gentle, long-lasting support is ideal. I may only walk the neighborhood or stretch with light resistance bands, but my muscles still need care, and Greek yogurt gives them that in a very easy to digest form. Here's how I enjoy it at night. I take about half a cup of plain, unsweetened Greek yogurt. I mix in a teaspoon of chia seeds, rich in omega 3 fats and fiber, and a small handful of fresh berries. Blueberries and raspberries are my favorites because they're full of antioxidants. If I want a hint of sweetness, I add a drizzle of raw honey. This little dish does more than nourish my body. It comforts me. It feels like a dessert, but works like medicine. After a few weeks, I noticed I was sleeping through the night more consistently. I stopped waking up feeling achy. My joints felt looser in the morning. I even felt more energetic by the time I finished my first cup of coffee. Another thing I appreciate is that Greek yogurt contains calcium, which supports muscle contractions and bone strength. And many versions include probiotics, which help digestion and nutrient absorption, both of which tend to slow down with age. If you've tried yogurt before and didn't like how it made you feel, I'd encourage you to give Greek yogurt another shot. Start with a small portion and avoid flavored versions that are full of sugar. You may find, like I did, that it fits beautifully into your nightly rhythm and your strength goals too. Food, number 6. Cottage cheese. A forgotten favorite with remarkable benefits. Cottage cheese might seem old-fashioned. To be honest, I hadn't touched it in decades. I remembered it as a bland food from diet plans in the 1970s, something people ate when they were trying to lose weight. But after reading a study in the British Journal of Nutrition, I gave it another try, and I'm glad I did. The study showed that older adults who ate cottage cheese before bed and followed a light exercise plan saw a 27% increase in muscle strength and a 20% increase in lean muscle mass over 12 weeks. That's not marketing hype. That's real, measurable change. The power of cottage cheese lies in its casein protein, the slowest digesting of all the common proteins. That means when you eat it before bed, your muscles get a steady stream of amino acids while you sleep. And because it's soft, moist, and mild in taste, it's easy to digest, even for those with sensitive stomachs or dental issues. What impressed me most, though, is that cottage cheese is naturally rich in leucine, the same amino acid found in eggs and whey protein that kickstarts muscle protein synthesis. Just half a cup gives you the amount needed to activate the repair process. No powders, no pills, just food. Here's my favorite way to enjoy it. I mix half a cup of low-sodium cottage cheese with a spoonful of chia seeds and a small handful of raspberries. I let it sit for 10 minutes so the chia seeds soften and it becomes smooth and pudding-like. It fills me up just enough. Not heavy, but satisfying. In just a few weeks of doing this regularly, I began to feel stronger when climbing stairs. My arms didn't fatigue as quickly when carrying groceries. Even my posture felt better. Cottage cheese also provides calcium and phosphorus, which support both bones and muscle contractions. And because it's naturally low in sugar and carbohydrates, it doesn't interfere with sleep the way some snacks do. If you're someone who prefers gentle whole food solutions to supplements, this is one worth trying. It's humble, yes, but so am I. And these days, I'll take anything that helps me move with more confidence, especially when it's this simple. Food number 7. The ultimate nighttime shake. Whey protein, collagen, and leucine combined. Out of everything I've tried to support my strength as I age, this one has made the most noticeable difference. Not right away, but gradually, steadily, and undeniably. It's not just a food, it's a formula. And it has helped me feel like myself again, one night at a time. The combination is simple. 1 scoop of high-quality whey protein, 1 scoop of collagen peptides, 3 grams of leucine powder. Mix it all into a cup of unsweetened almond milk or water. Drink it about 45 minutes before bed. Now, I understand if this sounds a bit more scientific than the other foods we've talked about. I felt the same at first. I prefer real familiar ingredients, things you can find in a kitchen, not a lab. But I gave this shake a chance after reading a study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition that showed older adults who drank 40 grams of whey protein before bed experienced a 32% increase in overnight muscle protein synthesis. When they added leucine, that improvement doubled. Whey protein is the fast acting building block. It's absorbed quickly and helps muscles begin the repair process almost immediately. It contains all 9 essential amino acids and a high amount of leucine, the most important trigger for muscle rebuilding. Collagen works differently. It doesn't build muscle bulk, but it strengthens the tissues that surround your muscles, your joints, tendons, and ligaments. That means less pain, better support, and reduced risk of injury when you move or stretch. Collagen also provides glycine and proline, amino acids that help with recovery, skin elasticity, and even sleep. And leucine? Think of it as the spark. Without it, the fire of muscle repair stays dim. With it, your body gets the signal it needs to grow rather than shrink, even in your 70s, 80s, and beyond. When I first started this routine, I mixed the ingredients with water. Over time, I added a small slice of banana for potassium and a dash of cinnamon to help balance blood sugar. It became part of my evening rhythm, a quiet ritual that told my body, now it's time to heal. After about 4 weeks, I noticed that standing up from the couch didn't take quite as much effort. My arms didn't tremble when holding my grandchild. I could lift my carry-on bag again, something I hadn't done in over a year. The beauty of this shake is that it works with your body's natural rhythm. You drink it, go to bed, and let time do the work. No strain, no pressure, just results. Slow, real, and lasting. If you're going to try just one thing from this list, especially if you're already noticing signs of muscle loss, this might be the one to start with. Talk to your doctor. Choose clean, high-quality ingredients. Stay consistent, because it's not just about building muscle. It's about reclaiming your strength, your balance, and your independence. And that, to me, is worth every sip. Your strength is still within reach. As we grow older, it's easy to believe that weakness is just part of the deal, that slowing down, feeling unsteady, or struggling to get up from a chair is simply something we must accept. For a long time, I believed that too. But what I've come to learn is that even in our 60s, 70s, and 80s, our bodies still respond to care. They still know how to rebuild, how to regain, how to repair. They just need the right support and a little consistency. The foods we've talked about in this video aren't exotic. They're not hard to find, and they're not meant to turn back the clock overnight. But each one offers your muscles what they need at a time when they're working the hardest to heal, while you sleep. What surprised me most wasn't how fast the results came, but how steady they were. A little less stiffness each morning, a little more confidence each time I stood up. One step at a time, I began to feel more like myself again. So if you've been telling yourself this is just part of aging, I invite you to pause and reconsider. Maybe this is something you can influence. Maybe strength is not gone. It's just been waiting for the right kind of help. And that help could begin with something as small as a spoonful before bed. If any part of this message spoke to you, I'd love to hear about it. Which of these foods are you already using or planning to try tonight? Leave a comment below. I read each one, and I learned just as much from you as you might from me. And if there's someone in your life who's quietly struggling, someone you care about, consider sharing this video. You never know. Your simple act might give them back a little strength, a little steadiness, or even just a better night's sleep. Because in the end, it's not about doing everything. It's about doing something. And tonight, that something could change your tomorrow.